Hi there, I'm George, founder of Cubeo AI, and in this video we are going to discuss about Retrieval Augmented Generation, shortly RAG. I'm going to walk you through what RAG is, why do we need it, and how the process behind it works. First of all, let me tell you the LLM's drawbacks. Probably you have used LLMs like ChatGPT before, and you notice that sometimes it provides you things that don't exist. The things that are invented by LLMs, they are called hallucinations. You can imagine how dangerous are they for a system that must be reliable. The second thing is the outdated information. So the LLMs are trained using data from the internet, large corpus data, books, and so on. But they are not trained in real time to know about current events happened yesterday or events that are happening as we speak. So they might have outdated data. The next drawback is the lack of in-depth knowledge in specialized domains. Because they are trained on a large amount of data, they don't know a specific domain in depth. Probably they found on the internet something about a domain, but they just scratched the surface. So they really don't know an in-depth information about that domain. So if you ask them questions, in-depth questions, they might hallucinate. They don't know anything about your private data. So imagine you have your own data, your own company data in a Google Drive, and you want an LLM to be able to respond from your documents because your documents are private. They were not trained using your documents, so they don't know your data. They can say the specific source they learned about a specific information. So think about you are asking them what is a programming language, and you're asking them to give you the source they learned from. If you do that, probably you will receive something invented by the LLM. And the last thing is about updating its knowledge base constantly. They can't update its knowledge base because they are not trained in real time. So for that, they need to be connected to fresh data in order to be able to respond for the current event. Now, what is RAG and how it might help with this? The RAG is the technique that helps LLMs reduce all of their drawbacks we've currently seen. By feeding the LLMs with fresh data, so imagine you have a way that before the LLM responds to your questions or your task, it has access to your data and it will respond from your data or the current events happening and so on. So this is basically a RAG. RAG is the technique that helps us make LLMs respond from our data or fresh information. Because the embedding model is a crucial component into this RAG system, I want to tell you what is it. So an embedding model is a pre-trained AI model that helps with representing text, audio, images into a vector of numbers. Think about it like a black box where you input text or image and you receive the representation in numbers. They're used for extracting the semantic of the input in order to help machines to understand our world. So because they understand only numbers, we have to have a way to transform real things into numbers. These are embeddings. So you input images or text or audio, and here is how a vector of numbers looks like. And embedding models helps us find the semantic meaning of, let's say, words. So here, a king is similar with man in the machine space, and queen with woman. But man is not similar with woman, and king is not similar with queen. So that's what an embedding model helps us to do. So now let's jump to the how RAG works. I'm going to show you the simplest way of implementing RAG. Of course, there are multiple ways and you can improve every step in this process, but I'm going to show you the simplest one in order to understand how does it work. So the first thing in the RAG system, you have the data indexing. So imagine you have a bunch of PDF files and you want them to be used in the RAG system. In order to do that, you have to save those PDFs into a database. But we can't store only the files. We have to store the text inside, text images and tables probably inside those PDFs. That's why we need data indexing. So the first step in the data indexing is the data loading. So we have to parse those PDFs and extract the text from those PDFs. Next, we have the data splitting. The data splitting is the process where we take a large amount of text and split it into small chunks. Like a chunk could be a paragraph, a chunk could be a sentence, or the whole PDF page. It depends on your data, what chunking strategy is the most appropriate for your data. Then we have to take those chunks and send each of them to the embedding model in order to take their numbers representation. And then we have to store all of these chunks with their number representation into a vector database. A vector database will help us later to find similar vectors with a vector that we provide. Next, we have the second part. So the retrieval and generation. We index the data, and then we have to use the data in order to enable LLMs for generating us a response. So in this part, imagine that you interact with an LLM and you send a user query and you ask a question. Before the LLM responds to your question, it has to find the relevant information related to your question in order to receive a context and build you a trustworthy response. So it has to firstly send your question to the same embedding model. So you will have the vector representation of your query. Then using that vector, it has to find relevant other vectors in the vector database. So this is the retrieval step. Next, the vector database returns us the relevant text chunks that are similar with our question. And then we send along with the question the relevant text chunks to the LLMs. And now the LLM has the full context of what is inside your database, inside your PDFs, and what the question is, and it can respond to you based on the context provided. So that's how, in simple words, RAG work. Let's see an example. So we have here 3 chunks. These are text chunks that are embedded using an embedding model and stored into a vector database. Then we have this question from user. What is this as dog's name? Using this question, searches the relevant chunks into the vector database, and it found that these 2 chunks are the most relevant to the user's question. Then, along with these chunks, is sent the user question to the LLM into a prompt. So we send to the LLM a prompt based on the provided context, answer the following question. So the context is chunks concatenated, and we send also the question, and we are waiting for a response from the LLM. So that's how the RAG basically work. The benefits of RAG is it reduces the hallucinations. LLMs also can respond from your private data. They have access to the fresh and updated information, and they can reference your documents in their response. Let's see a quick demo of how you can build a RAG into Cubeo AI without writing code. So that's the Cubeo AI platform. What you have to do is create a knowledge base. The knowledge base is basically the vector database where you want to store your data. Let me create a knowledge base. Demo knowledge base. Okay. Once we create it, we have to add data into this knowledge base. I prepare a PDF document. I uploaded it, and we are waiting for it to be processed. Basically, this is the first step with data loading, data indexing into the vector database. Okay, so now our document was processed, and in this document we have a guide about ranking higher in AI-powered search platform like generative engine optimization. So once we added our documents into the knowledge base, by the way, you can add your own website, you can add YouTube videos or even custom manual data. But once we created this knowledge base, we have to create an AI assistant. And let me show you quickly how to build it. Give it a name, demo rag, and we use model. We have more than 30 models you can pick from. So I'm going to use the GPT-4 save it. We have created this AI assistant, and now we have to attach our created knowledge base to this new AI assistant. For doing that, we have in the train tab here, we have the add knowledge base button, and we have to select from the already created knowledge base. So select it, save, and now our knowledge base is attached to this AI assistant. So let's test it. Back to the chat window. Let me ask what geo is. So now the retrieval part was done using the my query was embedding using an embedding model, and it searched the relevant chunks in the vector database. So here is the documents and the pages, the relevant information was found. Yeah, here here is the information about generative engine optimization the AI agent found. So you can access and check your document inside the platform. That's it. I think now it's more clear what the RAG is and how to build it in a few minutes. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.